Hello, Mr. Sanders and the rest of the beautiful H period theology class. Today I will lecture you about the morals of violence in video games and why the Catholic Church should not fear violence in video games. Many people nowadays are using video games as an excuse to the rampant growth of school shootings, violence, drugs. Everyone wants a scapegoat to put it on. And where does all the blame go to? Video games. But is it just? Should Catholics be for or against violence in video games? As adults see it as a dangerous path to commit crimes versus how kids see it as a way to cope with reality and be free from bullying, anxiety, depression, etc. With rising oppositions, we must know what is right and wrong. Recently, the Red Cross has stated that people who commit war crimes in games should be punished likewise. This caused a major schism. Many young people mad, angered, or enraged. Another recent event was video games were classified as a mental illness. Just as a side note to this, my mom actually does accounting for a counselor's office and she uses video games for therapy. That will become important later. The tensions right now are an all-time high. I would like to cite the church's beliefs. Although a new hot issue, I would think that they would be against the violence in video games as a coping mechanism. Obviously I'm against what they believe, and I can see their belief from this because I cite the Confronting a Culture of Violence, a Catholic framework for action from the USCCB, when they state our entertainment media too often exaggerates and even celebrates violence. Children see 8,000 murders and 100,000 other acts of violence on television before they leave elementary school. Now, this is media, however, media also contains video games, news, cartoons, everything. I'd also like to cite Proverbs 3:31. Do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways. However, this is a far deeper subject than I even expected. Man versus machine. Are we to equal ourselves with these fake humans on our screens made out of code as highly as humans? This is where my argument comes in. We can't use any doctrine or sacred text for this problem. The problem is far way too modern. Equating code to a human traditional Judeo-Catholic teachings say that humans are God's own creation, and they are special, and to remove it would be a slap in the face to God. We know this. We've gone through it. However, God didn't make video games. We did. This is where I would like to cite John chapter 8, verses 36, where it is written, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." This is a way for us to know that it's alright, because once you think about it, the Son sets us free, our creation, and which means our Son will set us free, and we will be free. So even with that, the violence of video games that cause kids to feel better and less anxious and depressed help us. We can also look at data and how it affects us and further point our morals from there. However, like everything political, there are always two sides. But the American Psychological Association published an article named Benefits of Playing Video Games. Starting off, they claim video games in fact do not bring about violence in adolescents' brains, more so than things 50 years ago for boys the same age. Further down, they cited Benjamin Franklin in his quote about chess and morality. The game of chess is merely an idle amusement. Several very valuable qualities of mind, useful in the course of human life, are to be acquired or strengthened by it, so as to become habits, ready on all occasions. We learn by chess the habit of not being discouraged by present bad appearances in the state of our affairs, the habit of hoping for a favorable change, and that of perceiving is in the search of resources. What I got from that part alone is human life is centered upon gain. We simply cannot blame chess, or for in this case violence in video games, for a habitual act that's been passed down through instinct. Nurture versus nature. Nature is harder to change. It's like telling a bird not to fly in all practicality. So, in conclusion, That is sort of why I think the Catholic Church should not be fearful of violence in video games. Because should we be telling people, denying them of a coping skill that we know that works to people who need it? People who need things to cope with, socialize, to pass time, anything. I think not.